I guess when I was in my late 20s, I was diagnosed with depression. And I went to a psychiatrist. I didn't know at the time, I just knew I had anger issues too. So, I was like, I need to have this seen about because I would have outbursts of anger. So I went to the psychiatrist and, they asked a series of questions, and during the questions, they would say, "Are you depressed?" And I would say, "No." And then we would go on with my conversation, and they would say, "Are you depressed?" "No, I'm not." So it was that type of relationship. So, I didn't go for a while. And then when I had my youngest daughter. After I had her, I went through postpartum depression. And it was evident then, I had the crying and just didn't want to deal with the baby. And my parents would, come help me and just see about me or whatever. But from the postpartum depression, the depression just got worse. It didn't get better. It just got worse. And a couple of years, I guess I was in my middle 30s, and they diagnosed me with bipolar. So, which means like 1 week or one day I could be happy, excited, live on top of the world. I'm happy. But then the next day I could be so low that I want to commit suicide. So, for a long time I didn't notice the pattern. But I knew that there was a pattern because they would, I would go to the doctor and they would, ask me, well, what happened here or what happened here or what happened here. But I didn't notice that they noticed the pattern. So, I started noticing it for myself probably about 3 years ago, I guess. So, I would kind of, if I'm real excited and, I'm just in a real good mood, I just feel like I'm on top of the world, I'll kind of watch myself and, I'll say, okay, when is it coming? And, I could start to gradually feel the change from the high to go to the low. And one day, well, several days, some days I would be so low. I would come to church some days and sit over there, and I'll be like, when I leave here, I'm just going to end it all. This is going to be my last service. And then, I'd listen to preaching and listen to the songs, and it'll get me back to where, I'm more stable. Well, I wouldn't say stable. It will bring me back to reality. That's because when you're in depression, it's like two different worlds. It's like when you're down, it's like everything that you see is from a different perspective. Like you can tell me, or you can ask me, how are you today? But if I'm in my state of depression, my reality is you saying, you must not look good today, or you're just, what's wrong with you today? And, when I'm not in that state of depression, you say, how are you doing? I'm fine, how are you? I'm great, So when I would come to church and I would get kind of back to my regular self, and so okay, I'll be all right. And I would just live life, waiting for the next episode, whether it's a high or a low. Okay, so we're gonna speed up time. One day I got my mail, and I was calculating my bills, watching TV in my room, and I think it had been raining or something, And I looked over at the window, and it was a smiley face, a perfect smiley face on my curtains. It scared me at first. And I'm like, okay, so I got up and looked out the window. I didn't see anything or whatever, so I just laid back down, and I just kind of kept looking, and it just faded away. So the next couple of days, it was like everything that I applied for, everything that I did, it was no, 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 no. So I'm like, okay, now what am I gonna do now? So I'm like, each day I'm getting deeper and deeper within the depression. So this one day I went to pick up my prescriptions for my medications, and I was fine, I thought, and I went upstairs and I sat down on the bed and I said, I think I got the courage to kill myself today. I think I can do it. I really think, in my heart, I said, I can do it today, because I've always thought about it and I always wanted to. But this particular day, I said, this is going to be the day. This is the day. And, and I even said, I remember sitting there, I had a smile on my face when I was thinking about it. This is going to be the day. I said, so, okay, so I go through a list in my head. Okay. Tia, that's my youngest daughter, she can go be with my brother because she'll probably have a better life there anyway. They have a pretty good life. She'll be okay. She'll be sad for a couple of days or so, but she'll be okay. She's strong. And my two good friends were at work. One of them works in Georgia, and the other one works at Glen Raven. And again, I'm the kind of person, I feel like I owe people an explanation. So I text both of them and I said, I think I can do it today. And I knew that they wouldn't be able to get to me. Anybody that was within a close proximity, I didn't text them and I didn't let them know. So I said, okay, this is it. So my friend called me, and it's kind of fuzzy, but I think I answered the telephone and I talked to her, and I told her I would call her right back. And so I went downstairs, I got my Lipton peach tea, and I had my pills in my hand, and I said, finally, I'll be able to rest. So, and I wrote a note saying, about my daughter needs to go with my brother, and nothing else made sense at that time except for what I was doing. So I went back upstairs and I heard a knock on the door. People don't visit me, so I'm like, who is knocking on my door, and why are they knocking on my door right now? Why I wouldn't open the door, I don't know. When I opened the door, it was my two cousins. I said, what are y'all doing here? And they said, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. But I had been crying, so they knew things weren't okay. And when I opened the door with one hand, and I had pills in the other hand. And my cousin said, well, what do you have in your hand? I said, I told her something about, I think I may have said I wasted some pills or something like that to try to just let them go. So they were like, no. And so the next thing I know, everybody's at my house. So I was like, I tried to convince everybody I was fine. Okay, I'm fine, y'all. I'm fine. So they convinced me that I need to go get help. So I went to the hospital for a couple of days, and everything was fine. I was released from the hospital, got back home, walked through my door. I was like, still here. I'm still here. Ain't nothing changed. Ain't nothing gonna change. I'm just still here. So during my stay at the hospital, they talked about coping skills, but I was a little more, I don't even know the words to use. I was more, I'm gonna say, conscious to the fact that I shouldn't take the pills, because I listened to the classes or whatever. So I called my niece and I asked her just to come get the pills from the house, because I don't feel safe around myself. So she did, and I would go stay down at my friend's house a little bit. Okay, so I gradually got to where I could at least smile again. I wasn't to the point where I was laughing or whatever, but I could smile again. I still wanted to stay in the house or whatever, but I would interact with people. So now the eviction. So I was evicted. Me and Tia living place to place, and the whole time I think it probably lasted for maybe 2 months, me and Tia having to go from place to place. But within that time, I realized that God had intervened, and I just seen little things that were happening. All the relationships in my life were broken for whatever reason. And with me being homeless, the people that I needed, or whose relationship that I needed, I had to go to them, and the relationships were fixed. And it was amazing. Okay, I came to church September the 18th. Never will forget it. And I don't remember what Pastor Dean was preaching about, but he always talk about the might be, or maybe he can, So that particular Sunday, that's why I was like, well, maybe God will help me, because I've always been the kind of person, I believe he can do it for you without a doubt in my mind. I believe he'll do it for you, but he probably not for me. So that Sunday, I sat over there and I was like, I'm tired. I gotta give it a try. So next thing I know, something all over me. I was running across the church and dancing, and Sister Black came over there and she was speaking in tongues. And nothing like this has ever happened to me, but she was speaking in tongues, but the words that she was saying was making sense. I was understanding the words that she was saying. So I'm like, so my physical me was looking, but the spiritual me heard what the Lord was saying through her. And at the end, she told me, all I keep hearing is this. And, I'm like, did this just happen? I think it did. So, that day, the rest of that day, God dealt with me all day. It was like, you just got to give it to me. Give everything to me. I'll take care of it. Give it to me. And that day, September the 18th, 2016, I gave it all to God. And the next day, that Monday, I still don't have a job. So, my mom helped me, but I try not to ask for nothing. So I would find some like change or whatever to put gas in the car to take my daughter to school. I went into the store, told the man I want $3 on pump 1. So went outside, pumped my $3, and the guy that was in there, he was like, hey, you know, put the thing down, and when you put it down, pull it back up and fill your tank up. I said, huh? He said it again, so I said, thank you. I was like, okay, Lord, I think I can get used to this. So I think I can get used to this. So that happened. And then maybe like on a Wednesday, I had put in so many job applications. Somebody called me for a job. And I had to be careful because I'm always quick to, you know, okay, this is it, you know. And the Lord said, no, this is not it. So I told him, you know, I'll have to call him back. So the same people called that Thursday, that next day. And then I still said, no, this ain't what he want me to have now. So I declined. So that Friday, I got another call from a different job. He said, yes, this is it. So that Friday, I got a job with the job that I'm working at now. And it's a good job. I love my job. And now I can see the effects of how families are affected when people try to commit suicide, or when somebody's down and, you know, they feel like they don't have anything else. I can talk to them and tell them, you know, God will bring you out. And I forgot to mention that throughout the whole process, God was taking things away from me. Like, as for my insurance had lapsed, so I wasn't able to go to the doctor, and I wasn't able to get medications. So I haven't took any antidepressants since September the 18th. Since that day that I was here, I haven't took any antidepressant. I haven't had to take anything as far as my mental state go. And to be able to smile and actually feel it, I would go through it all again. Just the feeling that I feel right now. I mean, it's, you know, it's hard for people to understand what goes on when somebody's depressed. If you don't go through it, you'll never understand, because at that time in their life, that's their reality. Just like your reality may be you going home, paying your bills, loving your family. Well, their reality is life is better without me in your life. So, you know, that's why, you know, people say, well, if she's not gonna really do it because she tell people. Well, I'm a strong person. I was born a strong person. My core is strong. So for something like that, I had to get up the courage to be able to do it. And in my mind, I was going to do it. God's plan was for me not to, but my mental state at that time was that I was going to do it. So that's my story. And I just hope and pray it helps somebody. And if anybody ever needs to talk, I have a listening ear. And